Hey guys, I want to welcome everyone back to Texas Silver. Also, I want to extend a welcome to my new subscribers. And generally, this isn't my background, but I have training going on this week, so I'm at a hotel. And this video is coming out late because we were training late. Before we get into this video, I want to remind everyone to please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you're new, I hope you like the content that I put out. Consider subscribing, and if you do subscribe, remember to hit that bell notification and hit the all tab. That way you're notified of my next video drop. In the comments today, there was a comment saying, and this is unfortunate, but the gentleman said that I deleted his comment and he's no longer going to follow me. Just to let y'all know, I do not delete comments. The only time that I'm ever going to delete a comment is possibly if someone is bullying another individual, or if something is racist or just inappropriate, I might delete it. But I mean, if you're just talking about your opinion on something, I want an open discussion. I want y'all to be able to use that description to bounce ideas off of each other, and I'm a full supporter of the First Amendment. So, I'm not going to delete your comment because I don't agree with whatever you have to say. So hopefully that gentleman will continue to watch my channel, but I assure you I did not delete that comment. I'm going to talk about the markets real quick. Today, pretty much everything was flat, but the 10-year yield jumped up again. I think it was about 15 basis points. And I don't know if anyone follows that but notices this, but it seems like right when the markets open, the 10-year yield will either jump up or get slammed down. And it's a huge move. And then as the day goes, it kind of levels out. So my opinion, what's going on is as soon as the market opens, then, that market's already wanting to either explode or get pushed down, whichever the Fed is needing to do. So they'll push that index whichever direction they need. And then as it gets to the end of the day, it starts leveling off. We have never seen these types of moves in the debt market. This is unprecedented. So, it seems like they're having issues controlling the debt market. So we just need to continue to watch that and see what happens with it. Moving on, I do have some notes just to keep me on track. Every time I do one of these videos, if I don't write notes, I end up forgetting something that I want to talk about. So I've got my notes today. So just to try and maybe help y'all understand how the Fed, our monetary system, works. It's a debt-based system. So how money is created is it's printed into existence. And for the system to continue, they constantly have to print more money, because what happens is they create money and then they either lend it to our government with interest, or they lend it to banks with interest, and then those banks lend it to us. So there's never enough cash out there because they're creating something and then they're needing it to be repaid with interest. So that money doesn't exist. So they're constantly having to pump more money into the system, or else what will happen is there will be a liquidity crisis, meaning there's not enough cash to go around. And that's what we're moving towards. That's what they keep talking about, this liquidity crisis. So that is kind of how it works. Hopefully I was clear on that. But so pretty much they create money, then they lend it out with interest. And so more money has to keep being created. That way those debts can be paid off. So when I talked about yesterday with diversification, I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on that. I think a lot of times gold and silver, us as preppers, we get, or stackers, I guess I should say, we get wrapped around one thing. And so I will talk a little bit about myself. So my original concern was that, I thought the government was going to come after our firearms. And I don't think that's going to be the big straw that breaks the camel's back. So at the time, I was just putting back as many security items as I could. So firearms and, the ammo for these firearms. And so, but I was a one-trick pony. And 2016 is when I really woke up. I used to make fun of people that talked about gold and silver. And I don't know, something just clicked, something just didn't feel right with the monetary system. And so I shifted my concerns from, hey, they're going to come get our stuff to, this is going to be huge. This is going to be a breakdown of our monetary system. And so that's when I started doing the research and became wise to our financial system and how it works and the importance of having gold and silver. But my point is, I think a lot of times we get wrapped around one thing and we get focused on that and we neglect other stuff. So you need to be well-rounded. Security, obviously, number one. And I wanted to mention that has probably been my best performing asset is going to be my ammo. So my lead and brass has been, obviously you don't, until you sell something, you haven't gained or lost anything. So a lot of people will talk about, oh, I've already made this or that or the other. Well, have you sold that asset yet? No. So you haven't made anything. So until you sell that ammo or you sell that stock or that bond or that crypto or your metals or whatever, you haven't made or lost anything until you actually sell and cash that out. But if I were to sell right now, I've probably made 3 or 4 times the amount of what I originally paid for my security items, mainly the lead and brass. That's 1 or 2 of the most precious metals besides gold and silver. But you want to be diversified. So another thing, I know we talk about that there's going to be a real estate crash. Well, I think that's mainly going to be your houses and, suburbia, all that. I think that's where the major crash is going to be. I think that land that can yield crops or can be used to raise livestock, I think it may come down a little bit, but I think the demand is going to keep growing for that, especially with this food crisis that they talk about is coming. So I think you would be okay if you were to go buy land, especially if you plan to use that to raise crops or raise livestock. I think that's good to diversify into. Obviously, food, and that's not just your freeze-dried food and canned food. Yes, that's great, but you need to look at something that's going to keep reproducing that food for you. So you would probably do well to get some seeds, get a seed vault. I do have a handful of seeds that are put back. I haven't done a garden, and I do need to work on that. But the main reason why I haven't started one is because I don't have an area that's dedicated to where my animals can't get to it. I guess if it came down to it, I could always start it in my yard, but I can't have the goats and the cows getting to it. So I do have a place, but if I had to, I could start a garden, but I prefer have a place that's already sectioned out that I have planned for my garden. So I just need to get that fenced off. That way, I can start that. But yeah, so gardening tools, that's a huge thing. So if you have all these seeds and everything, but do you have the tools? And 1 is none, 2 is 1. So if you have, 1 rake, 1 hoe, 1, whatever, if that tool goes down, then you're out. So you always want to have redundancy. So you want to at least have 2 of every tool that you're going to have for your gardening. You want to have cash on hand. We always talk about that. Another thing is look into income producing properties. Just be careful with that. But anything that's not paying out a dividend is going to be a liability. So if you are going to buy real estate, just know the market, be careful, know that, if this thing gets really bad, you may not be able to get a renter, or, if it's an Airbnb, just know that people may stop traveling, and just make sure that you're going to be able to still make that payment if your Airbnb property doesn't have renters. Let's move on. pardon me, I wanted to talk about winter. Winter is right around the corner. So there's talks about this energy crisis and that there could be grid down or rolling blackouts or whatever. So I would highly recommend having secondary or third backup ways to heat your home. Just make sure that if you are going to get some sort of propane heater or natural gas heater or something, a portable heater, make sure that it's rated to be inside your house, because you don't want to kill your family with carbon monoxide poisoning. So just make sure that it is okay to be burning that in your house. Also think about getting wood stoves if you can even get one, fireplaces. So now would be the time to start putting that wood back and all that before everyone is out trying to get these resources and it's no longer available or has gone sky high. I would recommend getting a nice sleeping bag, something that's rated for at least freezing temperatures. That's a really easy way to stay warm at night. A lot of times blankets, they just don't hold the heat like a sleeping bag does. So, I mean, blankets are good, but I would highly recommend getting every family member a good sleeping bag. And I would get one, if it were me, I'd get something that's rated below 0. So maybe a 30 below 0 sleeping bag. Also, it would probably be good to invest in a really nice jacket, especially one that cuts the wind, because that's really going to help with the heating abilities of that jacket, because it's going to break the wind and it's going to reflect your body heat. Also with the jacket thing, you want to avoid cotton. Cotton absorbs moisture and that's actually going to make you colder. I'll probably do a video. I've done one in the past. I need to do it again, but just talk about how to stay warm at night. There's some simple things that you can do that will help keep you warmer at night when you're sleeping. All right, we're going to move on from that. I had a question about confiscation of metals and if I thought the government was going to do that. So you have to think back. Remember, history doesn't always repeat, but it rhymes. We can also use it kind of as a guide. So what happened back in I believe it was the 30s, correct me if I'm wrong, but what they did is they made the private ownership of gold illegal. You had a certain date to turn in your gold, and they were going to pay you out on that gold at $20 an ounce, which I believe it was. And what they ended up doing was, once all the suckers turned in their gold, they repriced gold and they raised it to $35 an ounce. And so I have a feeling that that's what they would do again if they are going to confiscate metals. I think they would have a time period, that amnesty period, where you turn in your gold, where you turn in your silver, and they give a specific amount for those metals. I don't think they're going to go door to door, kicking doors in and coming in and trying to take your 20, 30 ounces of gold. But who knows? Anything's possible. But I think that's what they would do. Then they would make it illegal. And then once all the suckers turned in, they would reprice it. I think that's the route they would go if they were to do the confiscation of metals again. So, but I mean, that's my personal opinion. Who knows? You just need to be prepared. And, for me, I'm not turning my metals in. Good luck finding them. I lost mine in a boating accident. So I'm going to leave it there before this video gets too long. Again, this video is late because I did training. So I'm going to get this thing edited and get it launched. Thank you for sticking around this long if you have. God bless. Be safe out there.